it's time to talk about pranks, aka Death Dorm, aka the dorm that dripped blood. This was my second viewing. This is a Synopsis Films Blu-ray, and it's got a DVD and a Blu-ray. I'm not sure if it's still on sale on Amazon. I bought this over a year ago. I think it's still in print. This is a basic slasher. We got a bunch of college kids at this college. I think it's like closing down, and they gotta do like inventory and get rid of all the shit, clean it out because they're gonna tear it down or something, and build apartments over it. I don't know, something like that. But they're spending a holiday break at this place. They got 2 weeks to clean it up, and then and meanwhile there's a killer on the loose, taking them all out one by one. And there's the one creepy red herring guy, the guy who's in all these whodunit slashers, the one guy that's the obvious guy. He's just weird and awkward, socially awkward, and too obvious, so you know it's not him. And yeah, but like I said, ultra low budget. It was made for like $150,000. A lot of people on the crew had multiple jobs. I was looking at the credits at the end, and I saw like names more than once for different jobs. Like the guy who plays one of the actors in this movie was like the stunt coordinator. So yeah, that's when you know it's a low budget film and everybody's doing like everything behind the scenes. And so yeah, let's get into the movie itself. Let's talk about the things I liked about the movie. I think the biggest thing that was impressive was the soundtrack overall. The score was actually good. Pretty good for a low budget film. I'm going to try not to say that too much. Be like, this was good for a low budget film. But the things that are good about this movie, they're good for a low budget film. Like even the fight choreography. Like there's a lot of fights. There's a lot of brawls between like all kinds of different people. There's like 4 or 5 fight scenes in the movie. So I was kind of impressed that they weren't so shittily shot. Shittily, is that even the word? Crappy shot. How would you say that? It's not like the fight scenes in Intruder where it's just like, oh my gosh, this is just bad. These fight scenes were actually decent for a low budget film. But yeah, back to the score. I liked it. Created some tension, some scenes, and it was decent. And I like the way that the killer reveals themselves. I'm not going to say he or she, but the way the killer goes about revealing themselves towards the end is pretty funny. What this person says and then what their motive is, it's so stupid. Like, really. And Joanne, the main protagonist, or so-called final girl, she is the best actress in this movie. She actually gives a decent performance for a low budget film. She is actually pretty good, and I looked her up, and she did like nothing after this. I think she did one other movie, and that's it. And I thought she was actually pretty decent. And the ending's not what you would usually get from a slasher film like this. It's quite the opposite. So the ending, like last 10 minutes, gets kind of crazy. It's poorly written, but what happens is like, oh, I was not expecting that. And I like to be surprised every now and then instead of just getting the same type of ending again and again. So this one is kind of a breath of fresh air, so to speak. So as for the rest, I mean, it's just I wasn't that crazy about this movie. I mean, if you're a hardcore slasher fan, maybe check it out, but this is not that great of a movie. There's lots of filler, there's lots of padding, there's lots of scenes where I'm like, okay, well that could have been taken out, and this is going on a little too long. There's a whole chunk in the middle where they're just looking for this creep, and then they're just searching here, and then they're always talking about how they have to clean up the place, and we never really see them clean up. I just think that's funny. Like they always keep talking about how they have 2 weeks to clean this place up, and there's like maybe one scene where they're cleaning shit up. Maybe they're not doing a good job cleaning this place up. And because of its low budget, I think the cinematography work in this movie, the lighting is not that good. It's too dark at times. Its transfer was not that great. It's very gritty. It doesn't even take up the whole screen. There's like little black bars on the side, not huge, but little. It doesn't fit the whole screen, and it's very grainy and too dark, way too dark at times. Couldn't even see the characters. Speaking of characters, I didn't care about any of these people. Like none of them are interesting. They're just hollow, very thin. Just, I didn't know shit about them, like nothing about them, almost at all. So yeah, none of them stood out. They're just not interesting. They're not funny. They're just very bland, very very bland. I mean, they could have made them interesting, funny, or something. Like they're just so very very hollow. So I didn't give a shit when they were dying, and that's a crime. You should make me care about somebody in this movie. I mean, I kind of care about the final girl in this movie because reasons. I mean, she seems like a good person. You know, from what I get from her performance and some of the dialogue, her talking to her mother and on the phone and stuff, she seems like a good person. So I'm kind of rooting for her. But overall, like these characters are not impressive, and they don't really utilize the holiday at all. Like they say it's Christmas, you see Christmas lights in like one or two scenes, just lazily thrown on the wall, like not really properly set up. There's like some Christmas lights in here, but they don't really go for it. Like this should be like all out Christmas themed. If you're gonna set it on that holiday or around it, like go for it. Like let's get some, a lot of decor around. Like build some atmosphere. Make it a Christmas horror movie. This is technically a Christmas horror movie if you think about it, because it is Christmas break from what I gather, but it doesn't really feel like it. So I feel like that was a misstep, and then it's just bad writing. It's just lots of bad writing, lots of just like conveniences and weird character decisions, and this one like mechanic guy who just decides to drop by at like 3 in the morning for some dumbass reason, and the killer's motive makes no fucking sense. It's laughable, the crap that they're saying, and we got terrible cops. We got the worst. I think this is like the worst police work I've ever seen in the slasher. Like there's a lot of slasher movies where the police work is laughable, but I think this is some of the worst police I've ever seen in a slasher movie. It's freaking bad. But, final thoughts. It does have some silly moments for sure. It does have, a couple of gory moments in it. The gore is not really all that impressive. It is, low budget, but at least it's on screen now because it's uncensored and uncut. I mean, you got a couple of gory kills. You got like a drill kill. There's a baseball bat being used that has like nails in it. Stuff like that. They're kind of mean spirited at times. A couple of kills, and so it's got that at least. But overall, it's still kind of boring and slow at times. A little too dark to see. Characters that you just don't really latch onto. You can't connect with any of them. You don't really give a shit. And then there's just some bad writing that kind of just makes you a little angry at how bad it is. So overall, if you're a casual horror fan, I don't recommend this. All right, this is not going to entertain you. But if you're like a slasher fan, like hardcore, you want to like check out as many as you can, then maybe check this out. All right, I can barely recommend this movie. So when it comes to the Dawn That Dripped Blood, if you're a slasher fanatic, you'll probably get a kick out of this. So check it out by streaming it or renting it at Redbox. Now let's go into the spoiler discussion. So we open up with a moonshot. I'm going to point out every time. It's in so many movies. Full moon! Let's show that moon every freaking horror movie. So this movie opens up with a death scene that feels so thrown in. It was like, oh, we need to up the body count. We need to start with something exciting. So let's just have a guy run outside, and then 5 seconds later, his hand gets split open, and now he's dead. Like he dies off camera, but we see his hand get split wide open, and yeah, it's so random. It's like, who's he running from? I guess the killer, but like, what happened before he started running? What led up to that? Where did he just come from? It's like, here's a guy, he's dead. Okay, credits. Death Dorm. And then there's lots of rainbow decorations in this place. I wrote that down. And then we get the typical, I'll be right back. The Daphne, what's her character? Debbie, I think. Her parents show up, and the dad says, I'll be right back. And it immediately made me think of Stu and Scream. You don't say that, I'll be right back. And then the dad, he gets beat in the head with a baseball bat that has nails, but they show it way too long. Like, this could have benefited from being, like, cut down, because they show him, like, get hit in the head, like, 5 times, and it just looks like love taps, like he's barely getting hit. It's like, come on, put some freaking, passion in that swing. I mean, come on. And then the mom gets strangled with, like, wire, but the way it happens, it's like, would that even really choke her? Like, it doesn't really look that tight, and she's got, like, a turtleneck, like, the sweater that's very thick, and it's, like, really low around it. It's not, like, up here. It's, like, all the way down here. I don't know. Like, would that really choke her? Maybe. I don't know. I've never choked women with wire before, wearing sweaters like that. And then, so Daphne, she goes down, she sees both her parents dead, and I guess it was too much for her to handle, that she drops down, like, unconscious from, like, shock. She gets shocked and, like, falls down in front of the car, and the guy gets in the car, and then runs over her head. He like moves her body under the tire, gets in the car, and runs over her head, and like blood splats up on her body. We don't really get to see the head get crushed, but it's very much implied. I think we get a quick aftermath shot way later in the film, but still very mean spirited. And it's like, why kill them? They were about to leave. Why kill them? When we get the motive later on, it's like, okay, why'd you kill them? She was about to leave, and you're like, no, I need to kill you. It's like, what? Why? Why kill such a beautiful lady and her parents for no fucking reason? And this place is so run down and cheap that they don't even have like actual like metal numbers like drilled into the doors of the dorms. It's just like written in chalk. The numbers are written in chalk on the doors. Okay. And then the mechanic guy, he's like, "Where's my drill? It's missing." And then later on, he gets the drill in the back of his head. "Here it is, motherfucker." It's like the final chapter when Jason gets the guy with the corkscrew. "Hey, Ted, where's the corkscrew?" "Right here, motherfucker. Here's the corkscrew." And the drill kill is probably the best one because it's on camera. It's one of the few on camera here, and it cuts back and forth between like the real head and the fake head, and you see like the insert shots. It looks pretty decent and very mean spirited. I don't know how he's holding him down though. Like the killer like has him down, like he has him like on the sink with one hand. He like bends down, gets the drill with the other, and this guy's like helpless. He can't do anything. He's very weak. And when you find out who the killer is, he's not that big of. He's not that tough. He's not that strong. He's nothing. And why is there like this scene on the roof with the POV of the killer? Take it out. Just take it out. Like they show a mattress on the roof. So is the killer sleeping up there? Or was that the POV of the creep and that's where he's sleeping? Well, we know where he's sleeping because we go to his room a couple of times. So what's with the mattress on the roof? Is he sleeping up there? And why, if he is? That scene is just pointless. Take it out. And then we meet the creep. He's the red herring, and we know that's not the killer. No way. And so this guy is setting up the pool table, and he's doing it improperly, the way he has the triangle set up, all the pool balls. And it looks like there's 2 8-balls. Why is there 2 8-balls? And then I like how when the elevator breaks down, the mechanic is there instantly. Like he's like, "I heard it break," and I was like, "All right, I better go help whoever is in trouble." And then he's like right there. So you are fast on your feet, buddy. And this chick's like, "Don't leave me." And it's like, then follow him. I don't understand that. Like they're like going around looking for the creep, and he's going up the ladder, and she's like, "Don't leave me." It's like, if you're too scared to be alone, then just keep following the bastard. Then this guy, who's like, I guess trying to like buy, some of the inventory there that they're trying to sell, he gets up at 2 a.m. in the morning and starts calling the girl, thinking that she's probably still awake, cleaning the place, to set up a date while his girlfriend is in bed, awake, next to him. Like, he knows she's awake, and he just thinks she won't, like, be able to eavesdrop on his phone call, and he's, like, out loud, like, "I really just want to take you out. Maybe just have a couple of beers. Come on." It's like, you're clearly cheating on your girlfriend right next to her. And she knows it, but she doesn't seem to care. She flashes her tits, and I wasn't really all that impressed. I don't like titties with huge areolas, like the largest areolas I've ever fucking seen. And so then after that, that's the only nudity you get in the movie, and I wasn't even impressed with it. So then the power goes out, and this guy is still trying to call the elevator. Does this guy not know how elevators work? Obviously not. And then he gets killed, like, off camera. We see his body later on, but it's such a fucking lame kill. He gets, like, slashed in the shoulder, and then that's it. Lame. So then we get the scene where Craig takes this girl into the kitchen, and then for some reason somehow convinces her to, like, stay in the distance where she can't see him. Again, if she's so scared in the dark, and there's a killer around maybe, or at least a creep. I don't think they know anyone's been killed yet. But again, why wouldn't you follow him to the fucking fuse box and be behind him? Instead, she's just in the distance so that the killer can pretend knock himself out. Why do that? Why would you need to do that at all? No one can see what you're doing. You don't need to pretend. I think later on he acts like he did. Did he? Did he actually hit himself in the head? Because, like, I don't know, he goes to the girl later on, he's like, "I got knocked out," and she never even checks for bruises or bumps to see if the story, like, is, legit. But no. But why knock yourself out? You could have just walked around the corner, waited for her to come see what the hell was going on, and then kill her. You didn't need to pretend knock yourself out. That was for the audience. That was to throw the audience off so that you would be like, oh, I guess he can't be the killer. He just got knocked out. That was a cheat, and I didn't fall for it. I think I knew who the killer was the first time I watched this. There's really not that many red herrings. So yeah, that was just crazy. And then for some reason, when he flips like the fuse switches, like all the electronics in the kitchen are going off, like the blender, everything. It's just flashing, going off, and the Christmas lights are going off. And I actually like the way that scene looks. I thought the atmosphere of that scene was pretty good. I liked all the chaotic shit that was going down. And then she gets thrown into like a pot, I think, like some kind of giant sleepaway camp pot that's abnormally huge. Like, what would you use that for? um, so, yeah, after the chick gets boiled, Brian's killed off camera on the staircase, and then our final girl basically turns into Laurie Strode. She hits the killer, or the creep, with a machete on his shoulder, and then drops it right away and just starts running off like a freaking moron. And meanwhile, he's trying to like convince her that he's there to help her, but he's not doing a good job getting his message across because he's an idiot. He won't just say, "Hey, Craig's the killer. You need to come with me." He's just like, duh, 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 duh. Yeah, you don't know what to say. It's like, if you knew how to speak, this movie would be over. And so fucking get what you need to say out. And so then they knock out the creep together, Craig and Joanne, and then they walk around the corner. I guess he's dead. I didn't see exactly what they did to him. Maybe I was taking a note. I guess they killed him, but I thought they just knocked him out. But I guess he's dead. We don't see him again. They walk around the corner, and then he's like, "You know I was the killer, right? Like, it was me. I did it. It was me all along." Like, that's how he reveals himself, the killer. He's just like, "It was me. You know that, right?" It was just hilarious the way it went out. That's not usually how it's done in slasher movies, but that just cracked me up the way he revealed his hand. It's like, "Oh, it was me. He was going to rat me out, and then thanks to you and me working together, we stopped him from ratting me out. But here I am ratting myself out right now."
It's been me the whole time. I'm the one.
Like, his motivation made no fucking sense. I guess he's in love with Joanne, but then he's like killing these other women. Like, if it's a jealousy thing and you're like mad that she's with this guy or that guy, why are you killing all these women and this girl's family? It makes no fucking sense. Really, it makes no sense. He's like, people aren't gonna laugh at me now. They're gonna take me seriously. What the fuck ever? Grow up. But not only is he given this ridiculous motive speech that makes no sense, but he's also giving like a play-by-play of like all the events that happened. He's like, I went into the kitchen and I boiled so and so after I pretend knocked myself out. Look at the bruise. I knocked myself out and I did this and then I was doing this. Oh man, it was impressive. Like, he's like giving himself a pat on the back, like, this is what I did. Aren't I amazing? Look at what I achieved. And then he's like taking her around the place, like opening doors to reveal bodies. Like, look what I did. It's my masterpiece. It's so fucking insane. This is what makes up for the boring middle of the film, the middle second act. This third act, I think, makes up for it a little bit. Just a little bit. And then the cops show up. I don't know why. Maybe it's because they said they had somebody in custody earlier. Maybe it was the creep who they just killed. Maybe he escaped their custody and that's why they're there, because they made phone calls earlier. I don't know. Nobody called them again, so I don't know why the cops are really there, but maybe it's because of the creep. Maybe I can explain it. I don't know. But why did the freaking Bobby Lee, whatever, douchebag show up? Why did he show up? Like, she turned him down on the phone at 2 in the morning, and he's like, fuck it, I'll go there at 4 in the morning, and maybe I'll still have a shot. So stupid. Like, she should be asleep by now. Why is he there? He's just like, when he gets there, the first thing he does, he's like sifting through their garbage and shit. He's supposed to be like buying desks and shit from them, not going through their garbage like a fucking hobo. I don't understand what the hell he's doing there. It's just convenience, I guess. And so I don't know why he's there, but then the worst cops ever show up. Bobby Lee and the bad guy, they get in a scuffle. Cops show up. They shoot the wrong guy after saying, freeze or I'll blow your brains out your skull. I think that was verbatim what he said, the cop. I'm going to blow your brains out your skull. Yeah, that's what police say. And then, so yeah, they shoot him, and then they don't question the other bloody guy on the ground. They don't handcuff him. They don't fucking do anything. They don't search the area. And then They're like, come with us. We'll put you in the car. And he's like, no, 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 no. Just leave me here for a minute. I need some time. And they're like, okay, yeah, you just stay here. They leave him by himself for a minute so that he has time to grab the final girl who got knocked out at some point, and he takes her to this incinerator and incinerates her. And then we see the cops on the ground level next to like the pipe where the steam's coming out, and they're like, man, that smells funny. Roll credits. So yeah, the final girl gets killed, incinerated because of inept police work. They don't investigate shit. There's no way this killer really got away. I would like to think, to make my own like headcanon of how this went down after the credits roll, I would like to think that this killer really got arrested because his fingerprints would be everywhere. I mean, when did they start taking fingerprints? Like, is that a thing yet? Did they know about that shit yet? When did that become a thing? He would have gotten caught. There's no fucking way. There is no way. All right, this is bullshit. But when the cops go down there before he incinerates her, you can hear the cop in the distance go, oh, go check that room over there where the incinerator is. How the fuck would that cop even know what's in that room? He's never been there. Is it just common knowledge? Like, yeah, that's a dorm where the incinerator's in that one room. I don't know. It's just stupid. And then the end credits are shaky for some reason. Like when the credits are rolling, the frame is like shaking. It's like, I don't know. I don't understand what's going on there. But yeah, the killer, I guess, technically doesn't get caught. I would like to think he does, but he doesn't get caught. Killer lives on. He's free. Gets away with it. Very dark, stupid ending. Worst cops ever. So there you go. A Hockey Mask Award for Best Character in this movie will be Joanne, the final girl, although not final because she gets incinerated. And the Hinkley Award for Worst Character in this movie will be Bobby Lee, the guy who is willing to cheat on his girlfriend right in front of her. And the hottest chick in this movie will be Debbie, who gets her head crushed, so I guess she's not so hot anymore. And the Clapper Award for Best Scene in this movie will be the kitchen scene with all the electronics going haywire and the Christmas lights flashing. I thought that scene looked pretty cool. And the Mr. Hat Award for Best Kill in this movie will go to the drill kill. The Mr. Twig Award for lamest kill will go to Bobby Lee, who gets shot by that dipshit cop. And those are my thoughts on the dorm that dripped blood. What did you think about this movie? Put all your thoughts of it in the comments below. And as always, if you like what you've seen here, you can hit this like button. I really appreciate it. Share with all your friends. Do whatever. And as always, if you haven't subscribed yet, you can do so just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. And until next time, Alpha Fierce.